What's up? This is the last 2-pack out of the 3 that I have to review. I reviewed this one first, this one second, and this is the one we're on right now. Looking forward to this. Any Arbiter figure is a good Arbiter figure. So, yeah, let's get this open. Alright, we are back with the figures out of the box, and I do have to say, I just gotta call it how it is. Out of the 3 2-packs, this is probably the most underwhelming, just because I'm not overly nostalgic for Halo Wars characters, and also just like the overall quality of these figures. They definitely could have been better. But I do think that they're probably, he's probably a, 8.5 out of 10. He's probably like a 6 out of 10. So definitely a low ranking for these guys, because the Tartarus pack, I would probably give a 9 out of 10. And the Flood tank form with Master Chief with a flamethrower 2-pack, I would probably give that a 10 out of 10. So this is, definitely lower ranking, but I like to collect these figures, so I wanted to get them. And you guys might be the same. You might need them for photos. You might just like Halo Wars more than I do. And that is okay. But I will show you guys in detail what these guys look like right now. So basically, they gave us different plates with these 2 figures. The other 2 packs came with these purple kind of plasma kind of plates, and these 2 have this Forerunner kind of plate to them, and I think that's really cool. It's nice to get different plates, because most of the old plates just look like grass. And I guess maybe that's better to blend in and stuff like that. But it's nice to get something different every once in a while. We've had more than enough grass and rock kind of standing plates, whatever you want to call them. So it's nice that they mixed it up with the purple ones, and now mixing it up more specifically with this pack. So Sergeant Forge here, he's really small. Really, all his proportions are probably correct. Maybe his head is a little bit too small, but his body looks good, doesn't look out of proportion. This is what he looks like next to a Halo 3 Master Chief, so I'd say that's probably correct. Maybe not. I do feel like maybe he's a little bit too short. But again, I don't know. I don't study heights. I just know Spartans are supposed to be really tall, and Marines are, normal human size. But going into the detail of this figure, there actually is a lot for this small size. You can see that he's got his Magnum on his hip right there, and all his armor plating on his legs, and the camo clothing, whatever you want to call in between. It's all nice. It is a nice detail that they added that Magnum holster. It's really unfortunate that you can't take the Magnum out, because from what I can recall, there is no Magnum or Sidekick from Halo Infinite in this World of Halo line at all. So, kind of classic guns that they don't have, but oh well. This is the detailing on his shoulder. I really don't know the significance of any of this, but it is really cool that they got a, I guess, was that an ace? Ace of spades, possibly? I don't know. can't tell, but a card in on his shoulder piece in this band thing. I think that looks really awesome. And then at the top, whatever that is, like I said, I don't know these characters very well. And then this little decal on the other side. So that stuff looks really, really good. Then on his chest piece, I guess another decal, printing, whatever. All those, I guess, elite skulls. It kind of looks like the legendary campaign difficulty symbol, so that's pretty interesting. I definitely probably should play Halo Wars all the way through. I just haven't as of making this video, but I'm sure I would care more about these little details if I played the game all the way through. This is a shotgun. Looks really good. I'm sure the Spartans can hold it well too. It seems like it's probably better fitted for them at the end of the day than him. It's like the size of his body, basically. And probably the worst is his facial detailing. I really don't like that, and I'm sure a lot of people can agree that this can be improved upon in some way. I know it's a really small scale and it's hard to get paint in that kind of, you know, small little grooves like that, but I don't know. Something's gotta happen with this, because this is really just kind of ugly. I think it makes do if he's in the background somewhere, but, you know, up close, it's just, I really just don't like it. And that in combination with the hair being basically painted, printed, whatever on, instead of being raised up a little, it really draws attention to the head. And I think they could have done a better job on that. But moving on, he's got a back peg, which is really nice for him to be able to do stuff like that. And this is the positioning of the pegs on his foot so he can stand in the hexagon plates, or hex is 6, I think, I don't know. So Ripa Moramee, basically the reason why I got this pack, is really, really cool. It's got really good articulation as well, for the size and the armor restrictions that he has, because there's a lot of overhanging pieces like this shoulder pad and, you know, this back piece right there. So, you know, I think they did their best, and it is actually a really nice figure. So I'll show you up close. They got a really good amount of symbols and stuff. Sure, all the symbols are there probably, besides for ones that had to be cut out for articulation or something. Obviously, I don't know Ripa Moramee's armor too well, but yeah, these are really cool. They look really nice, and you can see the blue veins, I've always called them, on his inner, like, thermal kind of suit, or maybe that's just a, I don't know. I never knew what it was, because it's the same on Velvetum. All those blue lines. But I've always called them the blue veins, so that's what I'll call them here too. Oh, cool. So he just broke apart, but it is no big deal because it is a ball joint. So hopefully we'll get that right back in there. But it is important to show stuff like this because, you know, it'll make you guys be careful with your figures. Alright, I think he's back to normal. I think there's just a lot of, you know what I'm talking about. With this in the back here, it's a lot lower than the stuff in the front, so it's really easy to, like, pull it off like I just did. But it's okay, I just got it on and it's perfectly fine and working. So, yeah, but it's something to be aware of, I guess. So, I guess I'm happy that happened on camera, so you guys can be aware of it. His arms got, you know, pretty decent articulation, I guess. It's definitely a little bit restrictive, but, no, his arms move pretty well. Can do a couple of things with them. Let's see, can turn, oh, can go even more in, depending on the rotation of this elbow. Sometimes it won't go that far in, and sometimes it will. Then over here, got some wrist articulation for those energy sword swings, and he doesn't really hold these energy swords as tight as I would like him to, quite honestly. They kind of jiggle around and stuff, but, you know, it's no big deal. If you're going to have him on your shelves or something like that, you know, I think the only problem would be if you're taking photos and it keeps on moving on you, but it's okay. It's easily fixable or temporarily fixable or something like that with like a rubber band or some thumbtack. His fingers are actually really flexible, really soft rubber, so it makes it really easy to get those energy swords in, which is really nice. And the articulation is the same on the other arm. It's definitely a little bit more free than the other side, just because it doesn't have that big shoulder piece there. These are his feet. He's got no ankle articulation, unless you consider right here articulation in the ankle, but there's no like tippy toe articulation. His legs can stretch out like that, and yeah, I think you can get this guy in some really cool poses. The head, I'll do a close-up of the head. Looks really good. Not a ton of facial detail, and I really can't tell what color the eyes are. I guess they're red, but yeah, that's what the mouth looks like. Yeah, so I think they did a good job with both of these figures with what they can, and for the price point, you know, you can't complain at the end of the day when you take into account that this is, you know, maybe an important character to you, either one of these, and they're $10. So, you know, we got to keep that in mind at the end of the day. It's not like you're paying, you know, $40 a figure for these. You're, you know, paying 10 basically. I think the 2-packs are 25 each, so what is it, $12.50 for each figure or something like that. I mean, you know, it's pretty low. So you get what you get, and I think we got a pretty good set. Like I said, it's probably the lowest ranking out of all 3 2-packs, but it's still good, and I'll definitely still take a ton of photos with this. So now I'm going to move on to the size comparisons. So I have the McFarlane counterparts for the figures in this 2-pack. McFarlane Ripa Moramee and McFarlane Sergeant Forge. I would say quite obviously, since these are more expensive figures at retail back when they were readily available in stores, they are a lot more detailed, and you know, say what you will, these two were a $25 pack. I'm not 100% on that number, $25, but I'm pretty much certain the going rate for single carded figures are $10, so I'm assuming that since they're like, you know, a special 2-pack, it probably has like an extra $5 fee or something like that. They could just be $20 or they could be $25, I don't know. But what I'm saying is $25 for 2 figures compared to, you know, probably $25 per figure or a little bit more. I don't remember how pricing was for McFarlane figures when they were out in the wild, but, you know, something to keep in mind. But of course they are more detailed. Ripa Moramee has more articulation than this one, but the problem with McFarlane figures is a lot of them are brittle. That's why I would still buy them if I found them for, you know, not a ton of money, which they are a ton of money now, but if they weren't, I would still buy them, but I've kind of steered clear, and that's why I've moved into World of Halo, because they're a lot cheaper. And, you know, if McFarlane figures are going to be a lot more expensive, but be brittle and break, then, you know, I don't really want to deal with that. I don't want to spend a ton of money for a figure and then try to pose it for a photo or just to put on my shelf just for it to break. And I'm sure a lot of you would agree. So, yeah, I guess it's whatever your preference is. Sergeant Forge, the Jazwares version is like really nicely articulated compared to this old Sergeant Forge. You know, the detailing's about just the same. I think it has a little bit less on this shoulder pad than the Jazwares. The Jazwares one has that little, you know, whatever that is at the top, but both of them have the card in the shoulder pad and the rubber band. And I think both of them have something on that side. The head for this Sergeant Forge, I really don't want to try to fit it onto this figure, and it seems too big anyways, if you can kind of see. But, you know, this figure is a lot more detailed, like it looks a lot nicer, and it's about the same size, so really do wish that Jazwares somehow figured out a way to increase the quality of their face prints, because they ain't too good. But yeah, typical stuff I bring out for the size comparison. You got McFarlane Halo Reach figure right there, and Black Series Fordo in the back. If you decide that you don't like this Sergeant Forge, I do think that this Sergeant Forge is probably worth a pickup. It does have limited articulation, but it is, you know, a lot nicer, and maybe you care about the detail, or like the removable magnum on the side, and stuff like that. So I think that it probably scales just fine with this Ripa Moramee. So if you wanted to replace the Jazwares one, you could. But if you don't got the money or you don't want to, then I wouldn't, because I think these are both just fine. And they're a nice addition to my collection. And, you know, hopefully this video will help you decide whether they would be a nice addition to your collection as well. So that's it. Those are all three of the 3 packs reviewed. I wanted to get these videos out here to help people decide whether they wanted these figures or not, because you know, sometimes it's a time investment and sometimes it's just a monetary investment into collecting figures, and sometimes it's rough. So I had to get these figures from a Canadian smuggler, which is not true. She just shipped them over to me, but you know, I did pay a premium for them, for her time and effort, and you know, shipping and PayPal fees. So, you know, for all my US folks, I hope I can better educate and show you guys what you might want and what you might not. So thank you guys for watching.